Welcome to the one and only number 3 podcast. I have been watching a lot of news. There's been a lot in the news. And more likely, within the next 24 to 48 hours, I am going to do a semi deep dive into the rise of the socialists that are running on the Democratic side. I heard some very, very interesting things from a guy that I want to share, but as of today, I think one of the biggest articles that's out that's kind of got a little visibility, but not too much. The university, or I should say Penn State University, one of their largest fraternities, many of the participants and members have been arrested for drug trafficking, and I think it was cocaine. Now, I'm not going to get off into the fraternity world. I've done pieces on that before. And if you know me, you know how I feel about it. I was a part of fraternities and in other secret societies, and my Christianity uplifted me from that. But just for context, 18, 19-year-olds want to be a part of something in school. It is what it is. I think once you graduate and grow up, you should leave that behind. But I digress. That's my opinion. In this case, you have a fraternity, and it's a white fraternity. You have to stipulate that when it comes to these fraternities. It's a white male fraternity. Well, fraternity, so it couldn't be female, but you don't know these days. White male fraternity on the campus of Penn State that members have been arrested for trafficking cocaine. And according to reports, that the members uses pledgees. If you don't know what pledgees are, individuals who are hoping to be inducted or be members of the fraternity. So when I left home, I saw only two faces. Don't know if more have been arrested, but I only saw two faces. So I know at least two have been arrested. This fraternity will more likely, other than law, the law enforcement element, more likely will be suspended and possibly terminated. When you have these fraternities and sororities, they are at the majority of the big time schools. So for instance, in the state of Alabama, you have, let's start down south. You got University of South Alabama. You got Auburn. I'm talking about the big time, top tier schools. University of South Alabama. You got Auburn University. You got University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. You got University of Alabama at Birmingham. You have Jacksonville State University. You have North Alabama, University of North Alabama. Now, these are what we consider in sports D1 schools, but you also have a lot of Division I AA schools like Alabama State, Alabama A&M. You have Division II schools like West Alabama, Stillman, etc. So my point to this is you got all of these universities. So more than likely, when it comes to your fraternities like Delta Chi or Kappa Alpha Psi, they're going to be on every one of these campuses, every one of them, So you have individuals, some are good people, some are not. So you're going to have situations with certain campus fraternities, certain chapters. Now, in the grand scheme of things, you look from California to South Carolina, you got many, 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 many chapters, many, many fraternities and sororities. So just like any other organizations, don't matter if it's politically, don't matter if it's government, don't matter if it's private, you're going to have the criminal element. So these fraternities, both black and white, are going to have criminal elements. They're going to have somebody who's bad, just a bad apple. And you have to, these presidents and these individuals who are over the chapters and over these organizations are going to have to stay on top of who they bring in. That's very important. That's why you have the process of getting to the point where you can be accepted. A lot of people call this hazing. In my opinion, it's not hazing. You don't want a piece of shit in your organization. I'm sorry. If you want to be a top level Marine, you're going to have to go through, I think they call it Hell Week. They don't want no soy boys. No, they don't want no soft pussies in their organization. When you go to the police academy, depending on what academy, you have a period of time where you're going to have to go through hell. More like, I think it's the first 2 or 3 weeks. I know for me it was the first 2 or 3 weeks. And then everything kind of slowed down after that. But the first 2 or 3 weeks was hell. Doing push-ups every 5 seconds. Running every 5 seconds. It's almost like the military. You know, they don't want pussies in their organizations. So with these fraternities, it's a white fraternity. I'm not familiar with the fraternity. Matter of fact, it's only one white fraternity that I honestly know about because I had a good friend who was a part of it, and that's Delta Chi. I'm not really familiar with any other white fraternity. So when it comes to, you know, if you're a black dude, I can pretty much look at you and tell what if you going to pledge a black fraternity. I can pretty much look at you and tell, you know, what you're Alpha, what you're a Sigma, you're a Kappa, you know, you're a Q. I can pretty much look at you and tell. When it comes to the white fraternities, I don't know if that exists. You know, I don't know if that's the way they look at the, you know, what fraternity should I join? Should I join it because my granddad and my dad was part of this fraternity? You know, so. But as for this case, I'm looking forward to following it through the news, through the media. It'll probably die off in the next week. It'll probably won't resurface until there are indictments and other charges or going to trial. So this is one of them things that it'll be hot and heavy for a couple of days. It'll die off, and probably resurface later on. I will say that in the black community, when it comes to fraternities, through you know, in my early days, dude, the Omega Psi Phi and Kappa Alpha Psi fraternities and some of the Sigmas was always kicked off these campuses, man. You know, because like I said, there's a line you don't want to cross when it comes to you know, the things you do to get initiated within the organizations. There's a line you don't cross, but like I said earlier, these organizations don't want, well, certain organizations don't want pussies or weak men in their organizations. If you go to, was it Clark and not Clark, but the male college in Atlanta, I think it's, I can't remember the name of it. I know it's a male and a female college. They close to each other. One's all male and one's all female. This is a college that if I had a college age son, I would not want him to go here because I know exactly what these people are. These are not black men. They're weaklings. They're weak people, and I wouldn't want my son involved in that. And I'm sorry if I offended anybody. If you graduated from that college, you were more likely a man back then. In today's world, these are not men. These are soy boys. These are weaklings. And I would not want my son or my nephew or anybody in my family going to that college, period. So just to wrap up, yeah, if you're following this, I seriously doubt if anybody's really putting any time and effort into this. You know, you have a large white fraternity at Penn State University. You have some members who've been arrested for trafficking cocaine, and a mother whose son died at this particular house of this fraternity 8 some years ago. She's speaking on it, and she's basically saying that they use pledgees to do the dirty work. So that's in the news. We got some other stuff we're going to talk about later on, but as of right now, that's it. I appreciate you guys. I love you. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, you guys stay blessed, and I'll see you next time.